coming off a fun weekend, a cold weekend. Had to call a tournament and had some fun doing that. And I think I just thawed out from the weekend, but it was fun. How was your weekend?
Dude, it was good. I was watching you guys play, and congrats on the success, man. I always love watching Chaos Gray, the flagship team, man. So
Yeah.
you guys placed, didn't you? Or did you place in that one, or how'd you do?
We took third.
Let's go.
Didn't quite bring the gloves like we normally do, but hey, such is life. You
You'll
learn.
get you'll get there, man. Yeah, we came off a good weekend last weekend. Reagan's team took first with that championship. You were there.
Yeah.
I think it was because you were there, So just got back from a track meet with Tatum, man. Air Tatum had the hops tonight, like the Energizer Bunny, so it's fun.
Yeah, I
But
seen
Dave,
some of that. That was pretty neat.
before I get to the guests tonight, I always bring you things that are kind of like trouble me, that are on my mind, deep thinking stuff, right? So I got one for you. Ready?
All right, let's get it.
So I've been thinking about vacuum cleaners of all things, and I saw this somewhere, and it's been perplexing me. So let me ask you this question, Dane. If you clean a vacuum cleaner, does that in turn make you a vacuum cleaner?
Hmm.
Just saying.
No, yeah, I don't think I'll sleep tonight.
I'm just saying, man.
And with questions like that, this might be my last show.
Yeah, we'll find a new host. I'll
Yeah,
tell you what's not. I will tell you what's not perplexing, man. It is perplexing the amazing talent of the guy we have coming
yeah,
on tonight.
yeah.
Let me transition. So I've been following this guy for a while now. His name is Josh Merritt, and here's a clip of his video that we'll show you. This is Easier Alone. Love this song.
Easy. I know I must have said that once before. It's easier alone. Why don't anyone believe me? Oh, I like the nights this quiet.
Put out two albums. This is 206. It just released in February. Before that was Reynolds Station in 2020.
Yeah,
Man, you talk about this genuine sound, man. Like, I'm so
yeah,
grateful. They call it indigo, but it's more like bringing back, in my opinion, like roots country. You get
yeah,
this Randy Travis, a little bit of Conway feel to it, a little bit of Zach Brown in there. This just blend of like amazing vocals, great lyrics, and
yeah,
then and just kicking guitars. I mean, what'd you think
yeah,
of it, Dane? You were listening.
yeah. I mean, I like a lot of the songs he's got. Like you said, Easier Alone, The Path, things like
Yeah,
that. You're engaged in a good song when you think, man, it's already over. And you
yeah.
listen again and you catch something new the next time you listen to it. There's a lot of feeling in the lyrics, like you said. I mean, a lot of thought went into the writing those. So that's when you've found a good artist.
I love it. So I don't want to waste any more time, man. I'm excited to bring on this guy again. So humble and gracious. I message him, and it's always cool, even after doing this as long as we have. I love that butterfly feeling when like, yeah, we'll come on the show, man. So I'm gonna bring on the guest of the night. Got a great
Yeah.
first name, by the way, the one and only Josh Merritt. Josh, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, thank you for your time. Appreciate
Yeah,
Oh,
it.
man.
thank you guys for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. We're excited to have you, Josh. Like I said, instant fans found you, love what you're doing. So I'm going to jump into some questions to kind of pick your brain. Then I'll run
Sure.
past you. So, man, obviously, I love what you're doing with 206. Reynolds Station was a jam. I love that whole album. It's one of those albums you can just kind of put on and you can play the whole thing through. I'm curious, man, when you look at this writing process and your vocal style is amazing. Take me back, man, even before the first single. When did this begin for you? Maybe the passion to start writing and singing. How old were you? When did this all begin for you?
Well, I've been playing music since I was probably 8 years old. My dad grew up in a very musical family. My dad was one of 14 children, and
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and they grew up at a time where they all they had to do was to find something to do. And in my region, that was to play music. I'm actually from Owensboro, Kentucky, and we're noted as of now as the bluegrass capital of the world. So
Yeah.
uh, they just built the International Bluegrass Museum there in Owensboro, and so it's I believe one of the only genres that's been created in the last 100 years, where an entire genre has actually been
Yeah.
created. So
That's
anyway,
awesome, man.
that's the region that I come from. A lot of music, a lot of very talented people, and my dad grew up in a family where almost everyone played music, and so once I came along, I didn't have much of a choice. It was it was just something that we
Yeah.
did. But I really got passionate about songwriting probably toward the end of high school. As I was coming out of high school, I've always um, wrote music and would catch myself writing songs or poetry and stuff. But I really started to take it serious around 19 or 20, and it'd probably be 3 or 4 years before I wrote a song that I thought was any good.
Oh man.
But yeah,
So
very early age I started writing though.
Wow.
I love it, man. So somewhere along the way, there's going to be like maybe a Josh Merritt B-sides or extras of all
Yeah,
those
there you go.
early Heartbreaker songs. Are we going to get some of those someday, Josh? Those early
From
cuts,
back
man.
then, God, I
Yeah.
hope not.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Dane.
I was gonna say there's always room for those roots, deep digging roots kind of songs.
It's my worst nightmare. I keep just
Deep cuts.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the internet, there's a Josh Merritt Heartbreaker song to his middle school girlfriend. It's out there somewhere. Guys, find it for us.
It's out there. You probably wouldn't have to dig too deep. That'd break my heart, though.
I love it.
So, Josh, whenever you started writing and getting a little bit more, I guess, confident in your work, and you started going out on your own, what age were you at that time in your life?
When I turned 21, I started playing at the bars and the pubs and stuff. I've been playing and had a band together since high school, and we play festivals and fairs and things like that we could play for our age. But once I turned 21 and I could get into the bars and pubs, I jumped right into that. And I did heating and air work, which is what my dad does after I got out of high school, all the way up, well, even after 21. But once I hit 21 and I started playing out these pubs and stuff, I figured out pretty quick that I wanted to play music for a living. So I continued to work until I got to a place where I could make it my full-time job. And I spent 2 or 3 years actually preparing and saving money and paying things off and things. And it was my mission to become a full-time musician and to make my full living doing that. So that was my first goal, is just to go play music, even if it was other people's music, for a long time. And you get into that and you find some balance with that. And if you're like me, I've always had a drive to want to share my own music. And so it's just like anything, you take steps and work your way toward it, and take all the paths you can to try to get in somewhere where you can get a quality recording and get somebody to make you sound good. That's half the battle. So
well, I don't think you need much help, man. As I'm transitioning and I listen to it, I'm telling you, man, there's this transgenerational thing going on, because it's like you put on your stuff and you're like, man, I feel like I could walk into the 1980s and almost like I'm in this redheaded stranger thing going. But then you also have like the resurgence of like the lately like the Chris Stapleton type thing, a little bit of like the coming back of like the Tyler Shoulders. Like this thing that you're doing is like it goes across generations. You can definitely hear the influence. Now what's cool is, you like you said, like it or not, now you're influencing others. Like now you have the Josh Merritt on the scene. You put the Josh Turners, the Josh Merritts, you got the Joe Nichols. This whole thing that you're doing, there's an influence that you're now leaving behind on the next generation of songwriters as you're showing your prime. So there's got to be maybe, man, 2 or 3. I'm curious to pick your brain. A couple of your artistic influences that have made you tick. Like, who influences you to write music? So.
Oh man, there's so many that, like you said, the list goes on. I'm a huge Chris Stapleton fan, and I'm one of those guys that I'm one of those guys. Everybody was their first biggest fan, but I can honestly say, man, me and my dad, we used to go down to the Station Inn in Nashville, which is a very small bluegrass hub in Nashville, Tennessee. That at the time, like, nobody went to. Bluegrass hadn't had the big resurgence that it's had, in the past few years. And so me and my dad would go in there it maybe seated 100, there'd be 50 people in there. And I can remember we went in there one time and seen this band that they said it was a local band. They said, go check them out. They're pretty new. So they're called the Steel Drivers. And that was the first band that Chris Stapleton, it was a bluegrass band that Chris Stapleton fronted for years. And to sit in a 100-seater room, in some fold-up chairs and watch young Chris Stapleton, who no one knows, come out and just like
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That literally changed my life. Like I can remember sitting in that room for the first time, listening to him, being like, "Oh my gosh, who is this?" And what is he doing? And it'd be another 12 years before he ever released Traveler and became the big artist that we know today. And he was a huge early on influence of mine for sure, man. I really looked up to what he was doing. But yes, several of Travis Tritt, like you said, I came up on Travis Tritt. I came up on I'm a millennial man, so 90s child.
Yeah,
I grew up on 90s country. It's still my favorite genre of country ever.
I almost hear, man, it's neat because your song. What I love about your songwriting, Dan, is you take forward. I love this, like you have this almost this John Anderson thing about your lyrics too. It is so like I love it that there's no guessing, but it also is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it is like, dude, I know what you're thinking because you tell us through your lyrics. I don't have to guess. And I love it when people have like this prolific, like, okay, are they talking about a cheese cube or what are they talking about? I have no idea. No, you're telling me what you're talking about. It's really cool. So it's straightforward country, but it also leaves a powerful message, right, Dan? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I'm sorry. I said, I was gonna say it's funny you said John Anderson because in my house growing up, this is the truth. My dad kept us in church growing up, and this is not to sound sacrilegious in any way. It's just, but it's the truth. But if you walked in our house, there was a picture of Jesus on the wall, and right to the right of it, just coincidentally, was a picture of John Anderson.
Let's go. I love it.
He was a big deal in my house growing up.
Two great men. I love it.
Two great men. Yeah,
I love it. Go ahead, Dave. I love it. That's cool.
Now that you've released a new album, what does 2024 look like for you as far as touring? Obviously, being a songwriter, there's inspiration everywhere. What's maybe a couple of things on the horizon for you this year?
Yeah, things are. The year's already as crazy as I want it. You get to we usually start booking for runs for the summer. At the end of we started booking the end of last year, and you look up and you think, man, are we going to be busy? Is it going to take all? I mean, it always does, but you can't help but wonder. And then you get to around March, and I don't think I have any time to sit down until September, October. So yeah,
good problem.
Got a busy summer coming up. Yeah.
Are you thinking, because I know a lot of artists do this. I know obviously people will tell me, like some of my musician buddies, like they'll be on the road and they'll be writing because it's like they can't help it. Like they're in a jam session or something happens. Yeah. Are you constantly one of those writers too? Where you're always putting ideas in the vault, or is your process more? Yeah.
Sure. I like, man, I love to write with other people, but it's got to be it's got to click immediately almost for me to do that. I do most of my writing by myself. I will say that. But I'm constantly, man. The voice notes app on my phone is just it's my greatest tool, and it's literally filled with everything from, 2-second little phrases to like I'll get beats in my head or melodies and be humming things into my phone, and I'll go back and use all of it. I'll find a time to sit down and write, and I'll go back and find something in all of that if I get lost. So
thank God for iPhones, right?
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you,
country music, awesome, man. I love it.
So. I use it so much. Yeah.
Well, man, I tell you what, there's a segment every episode, and we're known for this, Josh. This is something that Dane and I, early on, when we first began doing this, we'd ask questions from the fans worldwide. And this little segment, I guarantee you, in all the media that you've done, we're willing to bet you don't have a segment quite like this under your belt. And this is called Rapid Fire. So let me explain how this works. Dane and I we have the answers. We have them, and we bet on what we think you're going to say. There's 5 questions we're going to throw at you. There's no wrong answer. This is about kind of picking your personality, and we're going to bet on what we think you're going to say. It's pretty fun. Okay. So in this segment, time doesn't exist. You can go back in time travel. It's just kind of a PG but weird segment to pick your brain. Okay. So pick the first thing that comes to your mind. So first one. So check this out. You are Mad Max style. You know how Mad Max kind of got the trucks rolling and it's kind of crazy. So what they're doing is they're putting you on a life-size monster truck, RC monster truck. So imagine an RC car that's life-size. You're on the back, kind of rolling, doing your thing. And you get to pick a person to play chicken against in this life-size RC car race. So you can take on in this Josh Merritt like a thon You can go against Jack Black or David Spade as your chicken partner. Who you going with?
Oh, Jack Black, hands down.
Let's go. Dana had that one. How about you, Dane? Do you have that?
Oh yeah, Jack Black. That guy would be fun to do pretty much anything with.
Oh, sure. I think he can hold his own too. I think we would get in there. Yeah.
I love it. So what? All right, Dan, so we're tied, so I'm going to work on this. Okay, so next one. You're invited. Country's making a resurgence in the world of wrestling. Dan and I are kind of big wrestling fans too. So the country's making a big resurgence in the world of wrestling. They're doing a new event at WrestleMania 40 this year. They're doing an Oreo dodgeball competition with Oreos. They're using Oreo cookies, dodgeball. And you get to pick your main opponent, like your captain of this team, and you can pick for the other side, the captain of the opposing team. You can go against the Ultimate Warrior or the Undertaker in this Oreo dodgeball tournament. Who are you going to go against?
Ooh, let's say the Undertaker.
Let's go. I actually, dang it, I had Ultimate Warrior. Dane, how about you?
Oh yeah, I had the Undertaker. I'll take a lead.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Man, let's go. I just want to see like Oreos being tossed, like, it's like a dodgeball thing, right? We're just going after them, man. Kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Got you. So next one, they're making the Josh. This is a very common thing among artists and celebrities and actors in the world these days. A lot of celebrities will make guest cameo appearances in video games. It's like everywhere. Like Call of Duty does it. All these things, they do it. So they're gonna make a Josh Merritt playable character in one of these two franchises. You can be Josh Merritt in the Tony Hawk remake that's coming out, so Josh Merritt, or you can be Josh Merritt in the Twisted Metal remake. Which one are we going with?
I guess say Twisted Metal, man. I was a Twisted Metal guy when I was a kid. I was growing
When you
up.
said millennial, I figured I had that one. I was like, okay, you said millennial, so I got this one. So, Dane, what'd you have on that one, man?
No, I had the Tony Hawk.
Did you? Okay.
I'm a little bit older than you guys, so.
Got you. So check this out, man. This is gonna be a tough one. So you're invited to come play at the World Cup. You're blowing up. Things are going well. Josh Merritt's invited to come play at the World Cup. And they say, here's the thing, man. We kind of want you to do a country bluegrass spin and take one of these two iconic like victory songs and put your spin on it. Okay. You can Josh Merritt it up for "We Are the Champions," or you can Josh Merritt it up for "Living on a Prayer." We Are the Champions, Living on a Prayer, Josh Merritt style. Which one we going with?
We Are the Champions. I'm a
Let's
huge
go.
Queen. I'm a huge
Let's
Queen
go.
fan, man.
Dane, which one do you have, man?
I had Living on a Prayer for. I just kind of.
Got you. So I'm ahead of you by one, Dane. So last one, Josh. Maybe Dane will come back and tie this one. So you're toe headlining this fall. You and Jelly Roll, you're co-headlining. We're just putting it out there. It's happening. Okay. You're going on tour. What they don't tell you is for every show that you play this year, you don't get to just be typical Josh Merritt. You have to wear this costume on stage, kind of like as a rookie initiation, whatever it is. You got to wear one of these two costumes on every venue that you go to. You have to dress up like Sasquatch every night and just rock it, and not even say anything. Like, you can't even go there. You just gotta like walk out in there and just act like it's normal. So you got to come out as Sasquatch, or B, you have to come out every night as ET. Sasquatch or ET? Which one are you going with?
Sasquatch.
Let's go.
I'm a big burly guy, man. It wouldn't be that far removed from who I am. So.
Let's go, man. But like just walk out. I'm Josh Merritt, y'all, and like don't even say anything. Like I'm Johnny Cash. I'm Josh Merritt. Just have this.
You'd have to know me. I'd
Sasquatch.
own it, man. I'd own it.
I love it. Dane, did you have that one, Dane?
Yeah, I had Sasquatch, definitely.
Yeah,
It's the personality. Absolutely.
Let's go.
Oh, man.
Well, we tied it. Well, Josh, thank you, man. Hopefully in interviews you've done, that's something a little different, something called rapid fire. So thanks for ready to get
It was
some more.
fun. I really liked it, man. Thank
Love
you,
it, man. Love it.
Man.
Yeah, man. Then go ahead, man, with that final segment.
Before we go to the final segment, we talked a little bit about inspiration and things like that. Now, your new album, whenever you write all your songs, going through the catalog, figuring out what song and what order that you wanted. Now, when it comes to the title of an album, where does that inspiration come from, particularly on this new one?
Different places. Both of my albums that I've released so far were actually concept records, which means that there was actually a story or a vein that rolled through the entire albums from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds Stations was a segment of my childhood of where I grew up. I grew up in a community called Reynolds Station. And during my childhood, my family was very dipped and soaked into the drug epidemic that was going on into Western Kentucky at the time. And I watched my my mom and my mom and her brothers and sisters go through that. And it's kind of, a lot of those songs take place from the perspective of going through that. The new album is actually a concept record that I don't call it a breakup record, but I call it a relationship record because the songs definitely came and were born from a relationship that I had ended probably 3 years ago. But I took all the songs that I wrote for that relationship, not just the breakup ones. So there's songs from like the start of the relationship. The album actually starts on a song called "You Made Home Come Home to Me," which is a love song. And then you get into songs like "Give It to Me," which are kind of like things are falling apart and we're angry at each other songs. And then by the end of it, I ended on "The Path," which is a redemption song and a song about picking yourself up and getting back together. So I was on tour one time and we had a day off. And I went in to see this palm reader, and this was not too long after this relationship had ended. And my ex, from the time we were together, she would see 206 everywhere we went. We would go out to eat, and it would be on the receipt. It would be we'd be in the car, and she'd be like, "Oh, look, it's 206," and it would. She would point it out. And so this is months after we'd split up, and you know, the breakup was starting to settle in. I was out on tour and we went for fun just to see this palm reader, and they read my palm and she did my like angel numbers, and one of them that popped up was 206. And she told me that the meaning behind the number 206 as far as angel numbers go is it is a sign of redemption. It's a sign that everything you've been going through is about to come to fruition, and you know, something's coming for you really soon. And I thought, wow, that really sums up that relationship in total. So I thought, what better to name this record than that, you know?
Wow. That's amazing.
I'm glad you asked that, Dane, because Josh, I was so far off what I thought it was. I thought it was like an old house number. So I was so far off.
Yeah.
Man. So I'm glad you clarified
That's a good
that.
guess.
That's a story, man. I was like 206. Maybe it was like 206, you know, like your house or something. That's powerful, Dane. Wow.
Wow. What a great story, man. But like you say, those kind of albums, you know, they really resonate with a lot of people when you write things like that. You know, there's a lot of artists that do that, and they get a lot of popularity from those things, and they get a lot more fans that come to them because they can put something together in that order, and it kind of helps. I guess it's therapeutic for a lot of people. You know, makes me want to listen to a lot of the stuff you do even more now, knowing that that's your goal whenever you write. So now as we go to this final segment of open mic, we call it, you know, we try to inspire this next generation, whether it be athletes, singers, you know, musicians like yourself. We maybe ask our guests to give them maybe a word of wisdom or two, or some knowledge to carry with them. Has there been something that you've carried through your career, maybe some mantra or philosophy that you carried that maybe you could pass down to the younger generation to kind of inspire them?
Yes, the first one that comes to mind, one of my mentors is a guy from my hometown. His name's Andy Brasher. And when I was first coming on, when I was 20, 21 years old, he was the guy out touring the country. He was in a band called Brasher Vogue, and they opened it up for Kid Rock and Kenny Chesney. And then he would come home on his off days, and man, he was the hometown hero, and he was a great friend to me, and he was a great mentor to a lot of the young guys that were in town. But when I was getting ready I'd been playing music out for a while, like locally, you know, in my hometown, and I'd made this decision to take the leap and become give up the day job and actually put all my focus into being an artist. And I was scared to death. And he told me one time, he said, "Leap and the net will appear." He's like, "That's the best that you can." He said, "That's all you can do, because the net, what you're waiting for to catch you, will never be there if you don't jump." And he said, "Here's the thing: if you put your mindset to leap and the net will appear, you're going to do everything that you're supposed to do, because you know that the net's going to be there. Now, whether it is or not at the end of it, it doesn't matter, because you did the thing, and now your mind is set to go do the stuff. But I love that. And actually, another good friend of mine called me several years later, and he's a fiddle player, and he was the same thing. He was like, "Man, I want to move to Nashville, and I want to go down, and I really want to do this thing." And one of the things I told him on the phone was, "Leap and the net will appear." And
I
he
like
actually
that.
has that tattooed on his forearm now.
Wow.
That's awesome, man. It's
Yeah,
true
yeah.
though. It's true. I
He
mean,
went on to play the Grand Ole Opry and all kinds of things, man. So it's powerful advice that I hold close to my heart for sure.
that
Wow.
it's true though, because you're thinking about like what's going to happen if you don't try? And every
Yeah.
successful person, man, you already have that success already. Like realistically, like you said, you're
Mhm.
only been doing it a few years, man. And I know blood, sweat, and tears, but recognition, it's worldwide, man. Like we picked up on you in the Midwest. People know about you worldwide. Like that's so what's cool about this age
Yeah.
where now is your music gets out there so fast, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like as it continues to grow throughout this year and the years ahead, Dane. Like we said, Dane, the next generation's in good hands, right, Dane?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you accomplish things, it always comes from somewhere, and you find that the ones that are very successful have had one or two people in their life that just set them on the right path with a few wise words. And if we can capture a little bit of that to pass on this next generation, that's what the world's about. Helping
Wow.
everybody along to evolve. So
Wow.
thank you for that message. I mean, putting it that way is a great way to look at things.
Yeah, Josh. Man, we can't say enough, man. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, I know you're a busy guy, and like you said, the tour circuit's kind of getting
Yeah,
underway. I've watched a lot of your live stuff, and man, you give it all you got. So I'm grateful to get the chance to track you down, man. I will say this, Dan and I always leave an open door
yeah,
invitation to the alum once you come on the show. As you drop more music and it continues to grow, please, man, feel free to come back and share
I would
new
love to.
singles.
yeah,
We'd love it,
absolutely.
man. So we'll be watching and cheering you, man. We'll be sharing the heck out of this stuff, man. I just can't wait to. I'm stingy. I got two good albums from you. I need more, so let's keep it coming. So it's great
We'll
stuff,
have
man.
some more soon, I promise.
I love it, man. This time maybe
Awesome.
it'll be like you said. Now that you've kind of got maybe respectfully some of the pain behind you. Let's do some joyous stuff now. Maybe
Yeah, maybe
so
we'll do
you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
some
Like a
heel
party
tapping
album or something.
music next.
There you go, man. Yeah, man. So, well, Josh, don't be a stranger, man. We'll have you on soon, and we'll get this out to the world. And just thank you again
absolutely.
for making the time to do this. And we're fans for life. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Okay. So,
I want to thank you guys again for having me on, man. It was my pleasure. I had a lot of fun.
yes,
Oh,
sir.
thank
We'll
you.
be ours. You take care, brother. You have a good night.
All right.
Okay.
See you
Thanks,
now.
man.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
Yep. So I'm telling you, Dane, that dude's awesome. He's as genuine as they come, and I love that dude. What'd you think of him?
yeah, I loved it. I mean, taking notes. I mean, I'm on my third pad of notes that I've taken from all of our guests. I mean, you take expecting one thing, but with him, I have a page full, and I can't wait to reread it and re-listen to this, and show it to my daughter and everybody else to kind of inspire them.
I like this thing about him where it inspires me when like artists or athletes, they're just like they know they got something. They're like
Yeah,
kids say humble brag, but it's true, man. He knows he's good, but he's also humble about it. It's like this.
yeah,
He didn't say I hope I write or I hope I make an album when I make an album when I put out my single
yeah,
when I move to Nashville when I take it off. He's like I know I'm going to do it. It's funny because people get surprised by that. Like athletes all the time, we tell them expect to kick the ball, expect to hit a home run, expect to make the
yeah,
shot. Why would an artist not expect to make it? You know what I'm saying, Dane? Like they
yeah,
should expect
yeah,
it. Like he has that thing about him. So
yeah. I mean, especially if you go into with that attitude of, hey, it'll be there. I know I can do it. I believe in myself, but you stay humble too. At the same time, you can feel that from him. There's that, you know, he's destined to do great things with personality like that.
you and I, even though I've picked a lot of music from you, you and I and our kids have broad ranges of music. When we can all come together and
Yeah,
we're all like, we listen to this song and all of us go, wait a minute. And that's what he did. Like I liked it, you liked it,
yeah,
my daughter liked it. Wait a minute, this is cross generational music that everybody
yeah,
loves. So you're onto something. Wow. So
yeah.
yeah, Dan, that was a good one,
Yeah,
man. So
yeah. Like I say, encourage everybody to go listen to him and the new album. Uh, you won't be disappointed if you're a country fan or even a music fan of any sort. He writes some great stuff.
yeah, well, like I said, we'll drop the links to socials and all that and
Yeah,
the post and all that. So on behalf of we can't say enough thank yous to Josh Merritt and
yeah,
Kent for
absolutely.
coming on tonight. That was a great one. I don't even want to get into it, Dane. We got a packed week full of great stuff. We're gonna make a musical trip around the spectrum this month. I'll tell you that. We
Yeah.
got some hip hop, got some more country, got some reggae, got some metal. Then of course we got softball. We don't want to forget about our first love. We got a lot of softball coming up.
Yeah.
Just got our friend confirmed from Arkansas coming back by. Got some basketball as well. Just across the board, man. You know how we do. So we'll save some of that for a later time. Can't wait to bring more to you. On behalf of Dane and Josh, don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.